our sponsor, Parati's Quality Meats, located in Cranford, New Jersey, serving customers all over New Jersey for the past 50 years. Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Coach's Talk presented by the Shore Football Report. And today we have the head football coach of the Howell Rebels, Coach Bill Hill. Coach, thanks for coming on the show.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. I'm honored to be here.
Awesome, Coach. I mean, before any guest comes on my show, I do so much research, and I know all about you. You've been awesome to me. I just want to say that in front of everybody. For the past 18 years, there's only certain coaches out there that kind of, go out of their way. You always went out of your way for me. You were very complimentary to me. I heard it from a third person that you were saying great things about me. I want to say thank you on air for all the stuff you did for me, man.
You've been a class guy in the Shore. Look, it's high school football. People coach against each other, but at the end of the day, it's still a camaraderie here. It's like a certain club. So it shouldn't. I enjoy just being around the guys.
Yeah. Now it's not like I didn't know who you were because I came in as a young coach, and here I got Bill Hill talking to me. I'm like, whoa, my God, wow! And let me brag about a little bit about you because you are now back at Howell High School, where you graduated in 1977, and we talk about a world of where everybody plays one sport. You were a three-sport standout, Coach, and you were a 1,000-point scorer at Howell. You were all-state in baseball, and you were all-shore in football. And they didn't have an all-state team in football, right? And we talked about that earlier. But you were a three-sport standout, and now you're coaching during an era of sports where kids like to just play this sport, and that's that. So, first of all, how special is it to be back at Howell?
Well, to me, it's a real blessing to be back, to do it, full circle back to the school where you had some success at the school as a player. And I've been in and out of school and coached a little bit there, but being back now as the head guy is awesome.
It's awesome.
It's really a blessing.
Living the dream, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, this is your think of this, man. This is your 23rd year of coaching, and you're back now as the head coach at Howell. That's got to be amazing. No matter what year in your coaching career you are, it's special to go back to your roots.
Oh, definitely, 100%, definitely special. The kids are great.
Awesome, man, awesome. And like I said, like kids today probably don't even realize that you've been there, done it, and you did it in 3 different sports. So at a high level, and that's unique. So your experience that you bring to that program, not just as a high school player, you've coached college, you played football, you got tryouts with the Cleveland Browns, and you got drafted when you out of Brookdale with baseball. So you come with a lot of volume of experience, and hopefully those kids kind of understand that they got to listen to you and not the guys outside there that are telling these kids what to do, which is scary as a coach. You know that.
Yeah, for sure. Sure.
Coach, let me run down your resume right here, and it's a long one, because you've been a lot of places and you have a great reputation everywhere you've been at. This is your first year as the head coach at Howell. Before that, you were with Frank Edgley for 1 year as the defensive coordinator and did an outstanding job. That's all everybody talked about. What a great job you did with the defense there. How special was it being on the staff of last year and now being the head coach? So how was it with Frank Edgley?
Well, it was great because actually before that, one thing that was kind of sad, I was the associate head coach with Mount Albuquerque over in St. John Vianney, that staff there. And just when he promoted me, he took the head coaching job. Frank calls me and said, "How would you like to be the D coordinator at your alma mater?" So I had thought about it for a little while, and then I accepted it. And working with Frank was outstanding. Frank's Frank don't sleep. He's a football guy,
right?
24/7. Yeah. He's I'm gonna tell you, he's a lot of fun. He got great jokes. Got the best jokes too.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I see your eyes brighten up when you said your alma mater, because I mean it's got to be an incredible feeling. Before Howell, Coach, you were at St. John Vianney. You coached corners for 2 years, and that was with Coach Martucci, right?
That was with Coach Martucci, and another guy that's kind of never talked about is Jay Bellamy. Mm-hmm. He played 14 years in the league. We talk almost every day. Even to today, we talk almost every day. I got a chance to experience him and his son. Actually, his son was a corner. So I said, Jay, there's no way you're gonna let me coach, correct your son. So I kind of, just treaded lightly, but it worked out great. Great. Jay was the D coordinator,
Uh-huh.
but he would tell me, "Hey, you put up 10 things that I must see. I do 15 things," and I would just put and even as a head coach, I always still put the scout team plays and do that. So that was probably that was a fun experience, and just to be around Jay, that was like me, like being around Sam Mills all over again,
Oh
just being
yeah,
with Jay.
jeez,
Yeah,
Coach. And again, while I'm saying this, I want people to realize you're bringing a lot of different places into Howell, which is only going to help the Howell football program with those experience. Before that, you were at Manchester for 2 years. You were a DB coach your first year, and then evolved to the defensive coordinator there. Before that, you were at Asbury Park for a year. You were at Freehold Borough for a year before that, and I don't. No, correct me if I'm wrong. If it's the order, you then were at the Jersey Shore Academy as the head football coach. Correct?
yeah, that was a great experience. You got to go around and play college kids. I really liked that. It was just starting out. The funding wasn't really great at the time, but I thought that was great to give kids to, because you get some kids that maybe were scholarship type
Mm-hmm.
kids. They got hurt, or a lot of them they just didn't get a good senior year, or whatever it was. Maybe the grades, whatever. But I thought that's a great thing for helping the kids to try to get another shot. The big thing, if they get their associate's degree, you know, that's the thing. Because I had experience, and that was the
Yes.
sell there,
Yeah.
because I had experience of that once I had left, the college that I left
Yeah.
to. You still got a shot. They still get an opportunity to go play. They could go play ball.
Yeah.
We ran across a lot of really good ball players at that Jersey Coast
Yeah, I'm
Academy.
sure you did bring a lot of high hopes there because out of Brookdale, which is a juke, you got looked at with baseball. So you were a head coach in their first year they ever had that program, which is a JUCO. Before that, you were at Tom River South as a head football coach for
Mm-hmm.
3 years,
3 years.
and then before that, you were at Jackson and you coached the. You were on the coaching staff where you won the state championship as a group four, in a group four, and you were undefeated, right, that year?
Yes. Mike Smith, head coach. Me and Mike, good friends. I met Mike back in in the 90s, 4, 5, and 6. I was the defensive coordinator at Lakewood High School. Actually, the associate head coach type thing, rented.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But Mike had a lot of hands in on the defense, and we went from a below average team into ended up being ranked number 8 in the shore. So after those years turned around, me and Mike stayed in contact, and he asked me to come coach his corners over at Jackson. They had went to the finals the year before and lost, but he said he wanted to get a little help in the secondary.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really exciting to go there, and then what a great football team, a lot of great players, great atmosphere. Uh, that was awesome over there
So
with
he's
Mike
great.
Mike
So
Smith. Mike Smith, yeah.
yeah, it's always great winning a state championship,
Oh
which you
yeah,
did there. Before that, coach, you were at Howell with I believe Corey Davies, right?
yeah. I spent a year with Corey Davies at Howell. That was also a good experience at Howell. I had been doing camps and stuff in Howell, so you know a lot of the kids and everything. But Corey's a solid coach. I mean, listen, he got he got a state championship over there. Yeah, he's done well.
Mm-hmm.
His name, like I say, he just got. I think that team just went into the our Hall of Fame at Hal.
Good,
That
good.
football team.
That's
Yeah,
good. So before that, you were at Tom River South with Coach Signorino Senior, coaching the receivers.
correct.
Before that, you were the associate head football coach for 3 years at Asbury Park. Who was the head?
Yes.
Who was the head coach there? Was that
Larry, my
uh
uncle Larry Hill.
yeah,
Right.
that's it. And before that, for 3 years, you were the associate head football coach at Lakewood.
Correct.
And then before that, you were at Neptune as the DB coach for 1 year. And you started your coaching at Asbury Park as the associate head football coach
No, in
for,
Asbury, the first year that was with Leroy Hayes, I was probably just defensive back coach or something.
okay, for,
Right.
for 1 year. That's,
With Leroy Hayes.
I mean, altogether 23 years, coach, of coaching experience. Fantastic. Coach, here's what I want. Well, I want to talk about the process. And you
Right.
don't have to go through every single place
Right.
you've been at. I did that. But I want you to kind of tell us when you were an athlete and all the, you know, places and stops maybe that helped you to be where you are as now as a head football coach at Howell. And talk about when you were at Virginia and at Brookdale,
Right.
and you had opportunities to play with Coach Garrett, gave you that opportunity with the pro contract with football with the Cleveland Browns. I want to hear all that stuff. All right.
Okay, I'm gonna add
So,
something else into it also. I just had a Uncle Doug Hill who had passed away with COVID. Now, before there was Howell football, it was Freehold, just one school, Freehold Regional.
mhm,
It was called Freehold, and Doug was the star tailback over at Freehold Regional. Now, this was when Herman was just a freshman. So people always talk about Herman and myself, but
mhm,
Doug was first. He actually coached Pop Warner here in Howell. He's the one that showed me how to get in the football stands, Doug.
they-
So he stayed at Freehold. Then they made it Southern Freehold Regional, which is now called Howell. Herman came to Howell, and he as they practiced at Howell High School. They didn't have a field,
mhm,
but they played their games up at Freehold. And everybody know the history of Herman as a football player and as a baseball player. So then I had another uncle, Jack Hill, who was also he ended up was at Freehold, and he came to Howell. Uh, he was with the Minnesota Vikings and got cut the last cut when they had Tom Osborne. Buck Grant was the head coach. Then Larry Hill. So a lot of that stuff I had learned from this growing up, watching those guys that play. And then Dennis Walling, the Walling family would come over to my grandmother's house in the backyard. So they would play sports. So I was like, it was like a camp all the time growing up. So by the time I got into high school, you was always asked about you one of the Hill boys and this and that. So I really wanted to make that nobody. I've probably been in the paper more than all my family, but
mhm.
those guys started it all first. I just wanted to make sure
Well, that's
I
great.
brought that up.
Really
Yeah.
great to hear. And you're talking about Dennis Walling, the guy who played for the Astros.
Dennis Wallen, they right down there, yeah.
Wow.
Dennis, and they had about five brothers. They
Wow.
would come over, and my grand big mom, they come over in the backyard and we play sports. It was Danny, Greg, Stick, Brian, Mark, Danny. It was a whole bunch of Brian.
Uh,
You had the a lot. You had the Book family. It's like the whole neighborhood.
you
So
mean
it
you
was really
weren't
great
playing
growing up.
PlayStation like the
None
kids
of
are
that.
doing?
Everything was every day was a camp in the backyard there. Every sport,
I love it, man.
baseball and football and basketball.
Whatever time of the year was, you probably were competing,
Right.
coach. Yeah,
Yeah, but so
coach.
by the time I played Pop Warner, had some success. Uh, then I went to Howell High School, and I was very fortunate to be able to play varsity. Actually, as a freshman, and I played varsity baseball. And tore my. I got a pin in my ankle. I slid into second base the first scrimmage against Manasquan, and actually I hit a home run my first at bat. Then I got walked to second at bat, sliding to second base. I tore my ankle up and I have a pin in my ankle. Uh, and I ended up playing 3 years, rest of the year varsity baseball at Hal.
Mhm.
But I was very fortunate my sophomore year to start football. We ran wishbone. I was left halfback, and to start basketball at Hal. So just going through the whole segment in Hal High School was just it was a great experience over there. It was just a great experience. I just had a little reunion with some of the guys that I played with just last weekend. They all were trying to help me celebrate going back to Hal.
Yeah,
But that was being at Hal High School. Definitely a great
you
experience.
got to bring some of that tradition from way back and introduce them to the young guys right now, and kind of bond them
Yeah,
together, right?
right. Yeah, yeah. I think well, they had some success in the past, but I think right now we're working on the physical. I think it's just. I mean, you coached, I've coached. Everybody got inside run, outside run, medium pass, deep pass, defense. They run inside, you load the inside. They run outside, you load. So it's all the same. So you just get the right. To me, just getting the right guys together and have them gel together. So we're just really working hard, try to get better every day right now.
Coach Garrett, for people out there that don't know who he is, talk a little bit about him and how influential he's been for you as an athlete.
Oh yeah, it's like a Godfather, man. Him and actually uh, before Garrett, it was Paul McLaughlin at Brookdale. We're both kind of like Godfather type guys. But on Garrett, very interesting story. I had went to Virginia and left Virginia. Actually, I was running with the ones down in Charlottesville. I really didn't like Charlottesville too much. A little different down south. So what people talk about the injury, but there was a little bit more than the injury because I was just a little hip pointer. But I came home. and it was too late to start the September. Uh, I'm actually going to go ahead to Garrett because right
Mhm.
now
Mhm.
I was trying to give you a timeline from the
Mhm.
baseball how I got to Garrett. But anyway, I'll back up on that and we go back to Brookdale. But
Mhm.
anyway, after the Rutgers season in 1980, I'm looking for a summer job up in Long Branch, and I got suit and tie and Sam Mills. I said, let me stop by Sam's house, and he was getting ready to go to Garrett's house. So I blew the interview off. I went to Monmouth Beach with him, and Coach Garrett asked me to want I come back and work out with him. You guys, people heard about those backyard workouts.
Mhm.
I worked out. Jason was throwing. We ran 40-yard dashes and all that. He told me to come back the next day, and the Browns offered me a contract from the one workout. I mean, that was probably one of the things that you really couldn't. You never thought something like that could even happen to you. You know, and I couldn't play that year. They had that rule, like the Maurice Clarett rule, because I was too young.
Mhm.
So I went to Ottawa, got hurt up there. But the next year, I went back to he signed with Cleveland. So I did two training camps with Cleveland. Then I had tore ligaments in my ankle. I was on IR,
Mhm.
and then the story just goes on and on. But then I had a that's how the Garrett totally got involved and started the. I mean, if it wasn't from Sam introducing me to Garrett, uh, I mean, you don't even know what even would have happened. You know, at that time,
Right place, right time.
yeah, and uh, and he just kind of like uh, felt it was just a great situation there.
But
And,
coach, you get one first impression. That's what I always tell my kids.
right?
And at that moment, you won over Garrett, right? And
Yeah,
and and that was that. So you seized the moment, and because you're a competitor 24/7, and when you were in a position to compete, you did it, and you got it.
yeah,
So
and right. And the thing about that too, after the season, 'cause I was a free agent. So then in '85, I had an opportunity. Sam was playing with the Mills was playing at the time with the Philadelphia Stars, and Ted Cottrell was the D line coach at the New Jersey Generals. He was our D coordinator at Rutgers in 1980. So I tried out with the Generals, and I made that team
mhm.
that 1985. So that's how that happened from Cleveland
Was
to
that
the
with
Generals.
Herschel Walker?
Yeah, Herschel Walker, Doug Flutie, Brian Sipe. I mean, we
Yeah.
probably had the whole. We had like the whole team. We had like eight guys. The two corners was from Seattle. Gregory Johnson, safety, was from Seattle.
Hmm.
I roomed with Jerry. Remember Jerry Holmes with the Jets? Yeah,
Yeah.
we were. But I roomed with him. I roomed with him on our travel games,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
that league folded later on. But that team there, they might say, but that was an all NFL type team.
Oh yeah.
It was like after that league folded, it was about 12 guys that had made it from that league and back into the
Well,
NFL.
they signed Herschel Walker to a pretty big
Yeah,
contract, right?
yeah.
I
Herschel Walker and Doug Flutie also. Brian Sipe was solid, but you just signed you just signed Doug Flutie,
yeah,
so
yeah.
I don't know. That Brian Sipe was solid,
Did you
So
did you at least pick off a pass in practice from a Doug
I
Flutie?
can't remember all that. Actually, to tell you a quick story, I caught some from him because in the mornings I practiced at Rutgers. I play some in 10 person to help play receiver.
Uh-huh.
So in the mornings I practice at wide receiver. In the evenings I practice at DB
That was
with the Generals.
oh, that's awesome, coach.
Yeah.
That's awesome. God.
Okay. Hey, yeah, we had talked about Jim Garrett, but there was another guy, Paul McLaughlin, who was like a godfather to me. Also, once I left Virginia and I was kind of in limbo a little bit, you know, and I couldn't start school to January, and he saw me in the gym shooting around or whatever. He said, "Why don't you come out for baseball? I remember you at Howell." I said, "Yeah, yeah." He told me how I could do all this thing, play baseball and get your associate's degree. Then you could still go and play football wherever you want once you have a degree. So I went out for the team, and then I ended up being the leadoff guy for 2 years, and I ended up getting drafted. And so now that kind of threw a little wrench in what I wanted to do. So I accepted the Mets offer, went into the minor leagues, and I played a little while there. Actually, after the season, they were taking 25 guys to winter ball from the A ball all the way up to the majors.
Hmm.
So I had an opportunity to do that, but I kind of scratched it. I wanted to get back into football. So it wasn't like I got cut or anything. It was just you couldn't do what they could do now. At the time, you could play professional in one. You couldn't do, but now you could be a professional one in college and amateur in the other.
Yeah.
So what happened after that? Now, uh, I end up my family was Herman's ex girlfriend. He her cousin or uncle was Ted Cottrell. She made a phone call. I got to try out with Rutgers in 1980. That's when I didn't start. We lost to Alabama the first game. Remember, they were 44-0, and we played at the Meadowlands. We
Hmm.
lost 16-12. We missed we were at the 20-yard, 15-yard line going in and missed. But after week two, I was the third corner, got hurt. I played a few games. He came back. I stayed at corner. I started corner. But then I got hurt, and I only played the 4 games
Hmm.
at corner. But at that time, uh, the it changed over on me. I ended up going to. That's when I uh, thought I could get right in the NFL right away. Sam Mills, I was. Me and Sam Mills was friends all the way through high school, and then he told me he was going to work out with Jim Garrett. I was going on the job. I blew off the interview. I went with Sam over to Jim Garrett's house,
Hmm.
and that's how it started. How I got into the football. So if I don't if I, maybe I don't even stop with me, Sam, or he take me to Garrett, or Garrett don't even. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen, but that's how I got my start from Sam to Garrett to the and Garrett was the guy that got me everywhere I went in the professional football. That was all by Jim Garrett. So those two guys were instrumental in me. Paul McLaughlin showed me how I could still get my degree and play baseball. So that was pretty good.
So, Coach, now, um, do you take all of that experience with you as a coach? Um,
Yeah, yeah, you have to. I mean, to me, I only know it was a good friend of mine coaching at Wagner. Not he wasn't a friend, but he was criminal. It's all drill work. So whatever you learn, some people try to think of how they do in the NFL or they do is different from high school. You block and tackle the same way. It's nothing really different. It's
mhm.
all drill work, and so I always like whatever you were taught you teach that. You learn stuff from Garrett, uh, you know, Tom Landry, Ted Cottrell, Marty Schottenheimer. We played a 3-4. I run it. That's some of my base. There's some of the stuff there.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, then you take some of the guys you play, well, like Jay Bellamy. Actually, Jay got me back on tune. I coached with some guys. They didn't want you. Well, it's NFL. It's not the same, but Jay ran the NFL. I mean, so it's the same thing. Cover two is cover two. I
Mhm.
talked to Ted Trell last year about certain things they do on trips. This is all the stuff. Is all that stuff the same. So all you're doing is taking the things that you learn and you just putting it back out and trying to get your kids. I think when I interviewed over there, I said, it's just player. I think a lot of it. You're the coach. It's player development. I mean, you just got to keep practicing, practicing, practicing. I mean, receivers. They got to catch 50 balls. I mean, the center's got to snap 50 balls. It's like a shortstop.
Yeah.
I'm playing center field in baseball. I got to come up and get a ball, crow hop, throw it to the cutoff man. We do that 50 times a day.
Yeah,
All that stuff is drill work. You
that's
teach
right,
the
man.
same thing.
Practice, practice, practice.
That's
Do all
all it
that
is, right?
stuff, Coach. That's I can't wait to hear more of the interview. Again, it's just an exciting time for not only yourself. I'm sure Howell too, bringing back somebody from the past that's been there, done it, and now you're excited about this year's football team, Coach.
Yeah.
All right, Coach. I'm going to take this mask off. That COVID season was a tough one for all us coaches. Okay, coach. To the left is Howell's high school football schedule, and then to the right is the Independence new division with a bunch of new faces that we're going to both talk about in the division. So, coach, to the left, can you just talk a little bit about your new schedule for the 2021 season?
Well, I mean, the schedule is a good football schedule. We opened up September 2nd against Brick Memorial. Walt Curry, actually, I coached with him, Mr. Signorino Senior, back in years ago. Great guy. That's a great program. So you got to come out ready for those guys.
Mhm.
Open today. Lenny is solid over there at Brick. Oh, Brick is Brick. So you get the two
Mhm.
bricks the first couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, you go to actually, one of the guys that I've always respected was when he was at Manalapan, the head coach over at Middletown North. He always scare you
Coach
as a
Bush.
coach.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's solid as they come. And he gave us fits when Dave played for me down in Lakewood in 96.
Mm-hmm.
Dave Ellis. Lou Lou was solid.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, he's been around. Uh, you know, so that's it. And then your off schedule was still, Marlboro and Freetown Towns. They both beat us last year,
Mm-hmm.
so we got our hands full as far as the football season this year. I like this because I like the schedule. I think we can. The boys know what's at stake. I think the boys are ready to play. They want to play, and they know what's at stake here. But this is a great football schedule.
Yeah, that's a very competitive schedule, coach, and that leads us to the right hand side, the new Independence division, which you know as well as I do. It's not the A South, B South, A North
Right,
anymore. It's just a bunch of teams in a division, and it gets changed every year. And this is what we're dealt with right now. And looking at it, you got two brick teams who are,
right,
like you said, are very, very competitive and well, basically, coach, everybody here has state playoff, um, you know, thoughts in their heads right now. They really do. They either been there or they already done it. You got Brick Memorial and Brick Township, both got a lot of guys coming back. Lacey Township with Coach Versillo has a lot of guys back. He's a guy who's got 299 career wins, and then you have Steve Bush at Milltown North, who's been there, done it, coached at Manalapan's, been a college coach, been a pro coach. So I mean, week in, week out, that division. I don't know who I should be picking in this division, coach.
right.
From top to bottom, that is as equal as any division in the short conference.
Yeah, I agree. Like I say, I have much respect for all the coaches in that conference there. Uh, Everybody coaches well. They scout well. They put on a good product.
Mm-hmm.
They all have put on great products in the past, and I don't see any reason why it'd be any different this year.
Yeah, that I'm going to tell you right now. If you have a better chance of picking the Kentucky Derby 1 to 5 than picking the Independents from 1 to 5, coach. And I'm not going to go there because that's a bunch of good teams right there, and I don't know who's going to be second, third, fourth, or fifth, or it's just this is what's going to make it exciting for the 2021 season. Okay, coach. Now let's talk about the guys that make head football coaches look great. They're the backbone to any program, and that is your assistant football coaches. So let's hear some of those great names that you got on your staff.
Well, let's start with the general,
Oh,
Bobby Generelli. What a great guy.
yeah.
I first time I met Bobby when I first came out from playing coaching with Lenny, I met with him up there in the '90s. So Frank took the job, and now he's back here. He's the Bobby has a tough schedule, so we work around it. He's he wants to list himself as the O line guy, but don't nothing go through anything in the whole thing. And let's be honest about it. Anybody can benefit from having a Bobby Gennarelli on the staff. It's bottom line. He's a professional coach, and probably the most one of the other things I like the way he handles kids. He I ran scout defense last year against our offense, and when kids totally messed up, like they didn't block he kind of always made them feel good about himself. So not only being a professional XO guy, he's a professional, positive person.
Mhm.
So start there. Obviously, my son Bill Jr. He's going to be kind of like associate D coordinator with me. He played for me in some of the front I use. He played in college at Morgan State. He played the outside backer spot. So that's great to have him. I mean,
Mhm.
these days we could flip, and I could do secondary. He could do. We kind of flip around, so
Mhm.
that's pretty good. He played, like I say, played college ball in Morgan State.
Mhm.
We have another gentleman that I was very fortunate to meet last year was Adam Sacco, who a principal came to us and said he had an application from a guy. Uh, on the application said he had played at Colgate. I said, "Well, yeah, let's meet the guy." He came in, we met him, we fell in love with the guy.
Mhm.
He's an excellent D line coach. Actually, he's pretty good on the when Bobby's not there. Also, he helps out with the offensive line. Great guy. He's scholarship at Colgate. Ed Morales is another guy that's real good. He was going to come on as a volunteer. He had not coached in the high school level, but as I talked to him more and more about football, and I said, "Look, I think I want to just hire you. He could work with the quarterbacks. He could work with the running backs, with inside linebackers. I mean, his son was the great quarterback in
Mhm.
Howell. I think he threw like 30 touchdowns that one year.
Mhm.
They went to the state finals, and now it's kind of they were but he had learned a lot from his father, so definitely a plus, and he's a positive guy with the kids. I got another gentleman, Dave Jimerson, who I started coaching in some camps, Howell Powell camps. I've done like 20 years of coaching the Howell Powell camps in the summertime. Dave Jimmers was 7 years old when I first met him. Ended up playing corner at Keene and coached up there. He's also coaching in the secondary. We have a gentleman, Larry Peslak. He's in the building, freshman coach. Larry played at Wagner, and he played at Howell also. He played at Wagner, and he played at I think it's a college in New Jersey. So he's
Mhm.
they're there every morning at 7 o'clock in the morning. Another outstanding guy, and Nick Ferrara. He's an assistant freshman coach, but he's the main guy on huddle and all those breakdowns. I mean, he's one of those special coaches that do anything you want to have done. So that's a well-rounded football staff there.
Coach, having Bobby Gennarelli, Coach
Right.
Gennarelli, on your staff must free you up as a head football coach. And we all know his credentials. I mean, a Hall of Fame coach and all that, but he's a Hall of Fame person. That's the too. I mean, is there
Yes.
something about him that you listen to everything he says and you digest it, and if you don't, you
Now you
didn't.
got to listen. Like I say, I think the great part, he's a senior put on your staff, and we listen to all the coaches. But I mean, you got to you really pay attention. And sometimes it's really kind of unfair, because he's like, well, there's want everybody to be a part of it. But
Mhm.
when he speaks, you just gotta, from experience, you just have to listen and see what he says. The great thing, we've been on the same page. The whole staff has been on the same page
Mhm.
on how we tackle the game. So it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun in your coach's office. All right, coach, here's what I want from you right now. I want you to talk about your 2021 Howell football team, all the great players that you got. But before you do that, I'm going to ask just tell us something quickly what you run offensively, defensively, and then let's hear all those great football players you got coming back.
But we'll start off in 21 like everybody else. We got 11 personnel, 12. So we could get multiple spread type of team. On defense, we could be a 30 or 40 front. Depends on what you're doing on defense. We could be too high. We could rock safeties down, be 8 in the box, depending on the tendencies of the other team. Okay, on the big part of us coming back for the offensive line, led by Matt Ionese,
Wow. Yeah.
senior, two-way player. He's definitely an all-shore player. He
Hmm.
he pushed he punches the clock every day. You know what? He's even when we're not even there. He's 2 3 days a week working out with one of the JM Power over up in not Power
Hmm.
JM. What is JM over in
I know you're talking about the
yeah,
weight room guy.
yeah,
I'm not sure.
Frank brought him over from RBC. He did a terrific job with our guys. You got a few linemen, Michael Mitchell's back. We got four-star Jackson Floyd, Stan. We got Stan Federer. He's 300 pounds.
Wow.
We got a couple guys that I think that could really uh, Riley Johnson Center Jr. We got some guys that been working very hard. Remember, we had a short spell last year that you really didn't, and we didn't remember last year we didn't even have weightlifting, so we didn't even have weightlifting this year to
Mhm.
June 30th. So we really pretty much had 1 month.
Mhm.
Go with our quarterback. We got a player I think is pretty good. I think he could be able to throw some good numbers here. Quarterback Jordan. Last year we had a two quarterback system, but at the end Jordan came along. He threw
Mhm.
about almost 400 yards or so in a game and a half last year.
Mhm.
He's projected to be your starter, Steve Jordan. Uh, One of the other players that kind of versatile that started last year is along with Matt ID was Nick Vaccarelli. Nick is a guy that he's another guy that gets it done. He could play outside, like he could play anywhere, any backer position, safety position, play tight end. Uh, he could play outside receiver, slot receiver. He kind of like the guy that he comes to work every day. Full speed, full
Mhm.
speed. We got another kid there, not a kid, another player named Hoffman who was hurt last year. Just very physical. Not really. He's a decent sized high school, but he's just very, very physical.
Mhm.
Very physical. Outside linebacker, tight end, and Jack Gardenstein, three-sport athlete over at Howell, a 6'3" kid that could catch the runs well. Actually, back up court, he's a junior. A junior. Then you have another guy. We have Dane Badilla. He a basketball player, 6'4" kid. I remember walking through the school the last week, and the phys ed guys let me walk through the gym, and I see this 6'4" guy over there. He had transferred up from Virginia Beach, was a basketball player. So I didn't think it would happen, but he's done well in the 7-on-7s as far as catching the football, and we just got this first week of physical, and actually he's doing pretty well with that. You don't know about how those basketball guys are going to turn out
Mhm.
when you start hitting, but he's a pleasant surprise.
Good.
We have another guy named Seven Miller, played a little bit as a sophomore. Uh, he's coming around, a physical type kid. I think the game is for us is going to be up front. I have two running backs, Luke Dalton, and who runs the ball very well, Connor Gordon. I think it's going to be one of those teams that everything kind of could mesh and they could play well together. Obviously, I'm leaving a couple names off. I got a few sophomores that they were like won 6 or 7 games, and I think some of them going to start. We'll know a little bit better Monday when we start hitting, but I had one guy run by Long Branch secondary a little bit as a wide receiver, sophomore. Um, got a linebacker, got a lineman, a couple linemen. So I mean, we just decided that we think we know we could compete. It's just a matter of football goes. It could be 3 or 4 plays to make the difference in the ball game.
Oh yeah.
We feel like we could. We'll play the game and see what happens from there. But I feel very confident. I have a lot of trust and faith in the kids, and they know what's at stake here. They
Yeah.
want to play hard. They want to win. They want to win.
Coach, one question though. What is your numbers now? And I'm curious right now because I'm out of the game right now. So what
Yeah.
are your varsity freshman numbers at
Well,
Howell?
we had 38 freshmen. The good
Wow.
freshman team last year, 38 this year. And I've been over to Pop Warner AYF, and you got full teams over there. Uh, I mean,
That's a high number
100,
now.
107, 107. I mean, that may drop off, but I mean, we kind of, you know, uh,
Wow.
I mean, one day I'm trying to find a helmet, trying to find shoulder pads in the building, up in the attic, that type of things. It's been great, man. Obviously those numbers probably going to drop off some because some kids. But
That's
just to
that's great
come out
numbers. Great
this year,
numbers.
yeah. I think what helped me out also being the hard thing when you get a new head coaching job and you're brand new, people don't know you. I think the thing that helped me out a lot that I coached last year, I knew all the players.
Yeah.
Uh, the parents, you knew some of the parents. Actually, AD. I got to talk about him, Pete Meehan. I mean, he was a football coach. So, I
Hmm.
mean, that may be one of the first times I interviewed with a guy who was a real football guy. And Mr. Broadman, the principal, he was a baseball player. So to me, these were, you know, they were athletes and they understand about competing. So Broadman was another guy that I was that he interviewed me also, and then we started talking and we talked about his sports career and stuff. So he understands the ups and downs, and so this whole thing, I think this whole thing could definitely is definitely going to be something special. I believe it will be.
Well, I'll tell you right now. Just you told me that, and seeing you smile and hearing the rumors of what guys are talking about your type of kids, and you got numbers. You got a
Yeah, I
coach
love
who.
some kids that I can't. I'm looking at every day about usually high school teams, you're playing 17, 18 guys, and I probably named about 12 guys. I left some guys out. There might be guys, their names will be in the paper.
Yeah,
It's just hard to remember everybody's name right here on the spot there.
coach. The ingredients are there. I mean, you got a guy who's coaching, coming back from his days in 1977. Been there, done it. Pro guy. He's been in college. Success. You've been successful everywhere you've been at. You have 107 kids on the football team. You have an outstanding coaching staff. That sounds like ingredients for a pretty successful program. Maybe not one game or two, but it sounds like you got everything in place right now.
I think the program will be successful. Like I say, football games, there's so many things. I just did an interview, I think, but so many things got to go right during the week, and you got 11, injuries. There's a lot of things that have to go wrong. I think we're headed in the right direction
Mm-hmm.
as a program. I really think that this whole thing is definitely going in the right direction. Like you say, the kids still have to play the game, but uh, I think they want it bad enough, and they understand what's at stake. For them to start being back, like I said, Corey Davies has had success, Lucas has some success. Hey, listen, everybody's had a few bad years, but I think overall in Howell, they've had some success with the younger programs also. So it's just a matter of us, we stay on top of our game as coaches and the kids, and I think it'll all come together.
Coach, I can't wait to hear about your emotions when you're walking on the field for the first time because you know it's going to be you're going to be like that 18-year-old kid coming back on the
Well, yeah,
sidelines, right? I mean, you listen, we're all little kids, man. We're coaching a little kid game. We
right.
are, and pure emotion is going to be coming out, and it's going to be real. It's going to be
Well, it
real.
came out. I mean, we had practice in the summer, but the first official day of practice, I was telling my wife, I said, this is kind of really, really hitting me right now. That we've been practicing since June 25th, and all of a sudden, that now is really official when you're going out there. So yeah, just being back at Howell. I mean, you're back in the same building. I'm looking around the hallways, and you're in the gym, and they got some additional stuff on there, but it's just unbelievable to be back at the school, and
Couldn't even
yeah.
imagine. Couldn't even imagine. Coaching's very emotional, and one thing I'm going to tell you not to do is don't be honest with your wife when it comes to emotion. My wife came to a football banquet, and I was crying, and it was good tears. And she called me a big baby, and she goes, "I can't believe you were crying at the banquet when you were at the birth of your daughters and our wedding, and there was no tears at all." I said,
I remember that.
but I love football, and she
Right.
didn't talk to me for 2 weeks. But you know what I'm talking about, like
Yeah.
those emotions come out, and it's so natural, like
Right.
it really is because we care, and you care, and you do
Yeah.
care,
You really care about the kids. You want them to,
and you care,
they're doing
coach.
the best they can. They're doing the best they
You've been a good influence to me, and I'm sure you're going to be a great influence to the future of the Howell Rebels. Really, really are. So I'm excited for you. I'm really
can.
excited
I
for you.
appreciate it.
So
I appreciate it.
I'm going to be covering you guys from social media. This thing will be posted tomorrow afternoon,
Okay.
and everybody gets to hear you speak as the new head coach there. And I'm really excited for you because you deserve it. You really do. You deserve it, and you're one of the good guys. So
Well, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
awesome, man. All right. And if you guys need anything, just go to theshorefootballreport.com and I'll
Sounds good,
answer.
man. Really appreciate it.
All right,
Thanks
coach.
a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, coach.